the New York Mets play the Atlanta Braves. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Citi, preferred card of the New York Mets. By Toyota, visit your local Toyota dealer or buyatoyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. And by Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. Day baseball in the big city today, and there's only one destination if you're playing hooky from work or from school, and that's Willets Point, Citi Field. Bring the kids, head down the stairs, and Citi Field's right across the way. The 7 train will be waiting to take you home. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you today as the Mets wrap up their series against the Atlanta Braves. Last night, every Met fan held his breath, waiting to hear the fate of Jacob deGrom's right elbow. The news, though, is good. Last night, deGrom was in his usual fine form, 4 scoreless innings, but in the third, a swing and a miss produced a wince. We didn't know why at the time. Turned out he had hyperextended his elbow. He went out to the mound for another inning in the 4th. Fared well again, but again came up wincing a bit. And deGrom came out of the game after that top of the 4th inning and headed down the dugout tunnel. He had an MRI last night. The results came back today. No damage, and the expectation is that deGrom will prepare to make his next start on Monday.
You know, you feel like the Mets have dodged a couple of bullets here. Cespedes with his thumb in San Diego came back and still was on fire. And deGrom, to find out really that there's no structural damage, I think is the key. I think it's very hopeful that he'll make his next start. Probably won't be able to swing the bat when he starts those games, but he's gotten off to such a great start. You just don't want to see him miss any time. And hopefully he can make his start on Monday. That would be an amazing thing. I'd bet on deGrom if I had to bet on anyone.
deGrom working on a string of 18 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. He left a scoreless game yesterday, and the Mets wound up getting shut out for the first time this year, and the offense really is not hitting on all cylinders.
It's really been kind of happening all season long. This team is hitting .235 right now as a team. No one's really caught fire. Cespedes has struggled. Jay Bruce is getting his hits, but he's struggling hitting at 240. Frazier got off to a hot start. Now he's in a slump. Rosario can't get started. Conforto 209. These are guys that you count on in the lineup. They've only scored, if you take away that 14-run blowout in San Diego, the Mets have only scored 19 runs in the last 7 games. So they need to get it going. Someone needs to get hot. Hitting is contagious. It's a long season to go, and I'm confident that this team will get it going sooner or later.
And the Mets try to avoid getting swept by the Braves this afternoon at Citi Field. All the action coming your way today on SNY. First Data, your business MVP. Visit clover.com this season to get paid, sell more, and run your business better. Download the app, play for free, start your streak, and compete to win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today in the App Store or on MLB.com/BTS. On the mound this afternoon for the Mets, Jason Vargas makes his second start after a disastrous first outing in San Diego. Gave up 9 runs in 3 2/3 innings after making just one rehab start, coming back from a broken right hand. Julio Teheran already has one scoreless start against the Mets this year. He has been a tough pitcher for the Mets to beat, particularly in this ballpark. 7 scoreless innings on April 21st and a no decision. 8-5 lifetime against New York. Mets trying to avoid the sweep. Vargas to the mound. First pitch coming up. Came out of last night's game with a sore wrist, so Johan Camargo gets the start there. Charlie Culberson, who's only been lightly used, will get a rep at third base this afternoon as the Braves, who moved into first place in the National League East last night by beating the Mets, try and sweep a series at Citi Field.
This happened yesterday. Yep. Pitchers ready, fielders are ready, and we got to wait till 110.
It's only 109.
Really? Let's start it early.
Yeah, why not?
Rules are rules.
Here we go.
Oh, he's going to signal to him. Okay, you can come now.
Well, he's anticipating the clock flipping to 110, so he's getting Albies to the plate. Let's see. Wait for it.
No.
Wait for it.
He's already
Wait
at
for
the
it.
plate now. Hasn't flipped. Bad timing.
Oh, boy.
We'll get there. Be ready, Ozzy.
This is worse than our open.
And that takes a lot.
Good Baccarat number, 9.
There we go. All right, we can play now. Ozzy Albies 1 for 10 in the series. 9 home runs on the year. Tied for 4th in the National League. Jason Vargas, his first home start for the Mets since Shea Stadium was still standing, 2007. And his first pitch of this afternoon is hit up the middle. Rosario to his left. The quick throw to first on a hop. Not in time, and Albies beats it out for an infield hit. And that's how this game begins.
Playing deep shortstop here. Not really. He just got in a bad position. He got rid of it quick. Had a strong throw over. Albies can fly.
I mean, one of the themes of this series, hasn't it? The athleticism of these young Braves.
So an infield hit to start the afternoon for Albies, just his second hit in the series, and now Ronald Acuna. 2 for 10 in the series, finishing off his first week in the big leagues, and he takes a fastball for a strike from Vargas. Acuna at .345 through his first 29 big league at bats. Youngest player in the major leagues at 20 years old. And he flies one out to left center, and Michael Conforto and Cespedes come together, and Conforto puts it away for the first down of the day. Albies tags at first but holds on. Throw backed up by Gonzalez, and that's the first down.
Here's your Lexus Met defense on the infield. Reyes' first start at third base. Gonzalez on the platoon role at first. Same tandem up the middle. And out in the outfield, Conforto back in the lineup today.
So 1 out and 1 on, and now Freddie Freeman, who has raked the Mets through this series, 5 hits and 9 at bats. What else is new?
Rakes lefties, rakes righties. Doesn't matter.
Tied for the league lead in batting now at .333 with his 5 hits in 2 games here.
Go 95 plus, he'll rake you. Maybe Vargas will be under the hitting speed for Freddie.
Well, for many of these Braves hitters, this is the first time they're getting a look at Vargas. In fact, the last time Jason Vargas faced the Braves, it was in 2006 as a member of the Florida Marlins. Not even the Miami Marlins, the Florida Marlins, the team that originally drafted him out of Long Beach State.
Only 3 innings career against the Bravos.
Yeah, start in 05, a relief outing in 06, and that's it, 3 innings. And the curveball low and in, a ball and a strike to Freeman. The equally hot Nick Markakis waiting on deck.
Vargas came over from the Marlins with another left-hander, right? A big kid, Adam Bostic, or I thought in that trade, and he had a chance. He threw 95 plus. Boy.
Slowly hit past the mound. Cabrera goes for the tag on Albies, on to first, not in time. And did he tag Albies or did he not?
He did not tag him. He's saying he's out of the baseline. That is a bad call. He never went out of the baseline.
Mike Everett, the second base umpire, claiming that Albies was out of the baseline. I don't believe that's a reviewable call.
I don't believe my so.
No,
he's
not
out of the baseline.
You have to go 3 feet out of your path, and he did not.
What he did is stop. Cabrera tried to tag him. He kind of pulled his stomach in, avoided the tag, and back to the base. That's not on the baseline.
That's a really bad call, and it is not reviewable. Brian Snitker out to argue the call. We rarely get to see this anymore in the days of replay, but that's not going to be changed unless he asks for help, and he doesn't appear to be inclined to do that. So it goes as a fielder's choice for unassisted. Albies called out for running out of the baseline, and the Mets get a break.
I'm wondering if the tag was made. Let's take a peek.
No, was not.
No, he did not tag.
No, he didn't.
And he did not go out of the baseline. So the Mets get a break, and that gets Markakis to the plate with 2 out and Freeman at first. Markakis 5 for 9 in this series. And he pops one foul off the left side, 0-1. It's a good call, Ronnie. It was Adam Bostic that the Mets got with Vargas, but remember they traded away Matt Lindstrom in that deal, and Lindstrom had some really good years out of the bullpen for the Marlins. Henry Owens also went in that deal. He was a converted catcher who had little success as a pitcher, fouled away, and it's 0-2 to Markakis.
Markakis really swinging a good bat. He is coming into the game hitting .322, .310 against left-handers with 3 home runs.
Freeman runs. Markakis drives one toward the right field corner. That's down for an extra base hit. Freeman turns third. He's going to come on in with the first run of the game. An 0-2 pitch. Markakis drills it into the right field corner. Freeman in motion on the pitch, scores easily, and it's 1-0 Atlanta.
Well, check what I just gave you. I shortchanged Markakis, and he just proved it. He hits .357 against lefties so far this year. My mistake. Gets this hanging breaking ball and drives it down that line there. And with Freddie running, Mr. Freeman, he's going to score easily. Markakis is really swinging an impressive bat in this series.
That was almost an old-time play where you run on 0-2, because you protect him. If you get thrown out, Markakis leads off the next inning, and it turns into a run for the Braves.
So Markakis now with a 10-game hitting streak. The Braves with another early lead. And here's Kurt Suzuki hitting number 5 in the order, and he takes a curveball for a strike.
Telling you, Freeman running that's not on any analytics. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm telling you, we're seeing a better brand of baseball, more excitement, more less reliance on home runs being manufactured.
And wait till the Rockies get here tomorrow.
Well, but they're on the road.
No, they've been hitting all their home runs on the road. They've hit 7 in the last 2 days at Wrigley, and the Rockies are getting 49% of their runs from the home run. They're first in the league in homers, 13th in the league in runs scored.
I'd like to see which way the wind was blowing in Wrigley.
Out, big time out. Charlie Blackmon, I think, has 1 home run in Colorado, and the rest are on the road.
And he's got, what, 10 home runs this year. 0-2 to Suzuki, who's hitting at .297, and he lays off the high fastball, 1-2. It's carried the Rockies through the early season as their starting pitching, which has been great.
Starting pitching has been good, and you know, the addition, of course, of Shaw, Wade Davis, and Adam Ottavino has gotten off to a start.
Ottavino's having a year historically good for the first month. In the air to deep left field. Cespedes takes a look, and that's gone. A 2-run homer for Kurt Suzuki, and just like that, Jason Vargas is in another early hole. It's 3-0 Atlanta. 5th home run of the year for Suzuki. Well, Vargas got a break on the call at second base. He had 2 out and a runner at first. He got ahead of Markakis. He got ahead of Suzuki, and they both deliver, and the Braves have 3 early runs.
Fastball up middle, and that was not a launch angle. That was a line drive swing.
I think this has really helped Suzuki. Back and forth with Flowers playing, doesn't play every day, taking some of the strain off that body. So offensively, he's gotten better the last 2 years.
Well, really, both those guys had their best offensive season in their careers last year and made quite the tandem.
Well, the Mets were trying to do that, right, with Darno and Plawecki, a combination that would produce great offensive results, and Atlanta had it last year.
Ronnie, right now, Vargas is getting about a 3-mile-an-hour separation between his fastball and his changeup.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
2-2 now to Camargo.
Watch how far in front the contact is made here in front of home plate. Well, he went out and got that. That's when you pull a ball. That ball is on the outer half of the plate, almost on the outside corner. And if you're going to hit that ball to right field, you're going to let it come deeper. You can make contact over home plate. Suzuki went out there and got that top hand over and got it in front and wrapped it around a foul pole.
3-2 to Camargo, and he strikes him out to end the inning, but damage done. RBI double Markakis, 2-run homer Suzuki, and the Braves out to a 3-0 lead as the Mets come to bat. to during his brilliant open today. A little shakeup by Mickey Callaway. Todd Frazier's first day off after his moaning about the umpires last night. Jose Reyes plays third base for the first time and bats leadoff. Bruce moves into the 2-hole. First time he's done that in 3 years.
Well, the Land Rover above and beyond. Julio Teheran had to leave his last start against the Phillies with a bad trapezius muscle. But he's made 20 starts against the Mets in his career. Their team batting average is 195. Only 2 pitchers have had that many starts with a batting average below 200 against the Mets. Jim Maloney, Sandy Koufax.
Reyes pops one up. Who's going to get it? And it's Albies who makes the catch.
That is the second baseman's ball.
Camargo, the shortstop, was trying to call him off and leaned in, but Albies stayed with it for an adventurous first down.
Camargo just signaled, well, it started at my position and it moved.
Someone's got to yell for it.
The wind is blowing rather strongly out of the southwest, and that's going to take it from left to right. It did.
Look at the
But
expression.
Albies caught it.
Look at Albies' expression after the catch. It's like, what are you doing over here?
You
Get
know,
over there.
a lot of times infielders, you'll see they spread their hands and they'll say, I got it. But the guy who's going after the ball doesn't see him spread his hands.
Right.
And so you have to yell it over and over and over again.
And another infielder can take charge
That's
too,
right.
and yell two, second base, or Albies. First baseman could have done it there.
Jay Bruce 1 for 7 in this series. Moved up to the 2-hole today. Last time he hit in this spot, he was a Cincinnati Red in 2015.
And that was my whole point, in that I had a brilliant plan in the open, Gare, that I was going to say the team hasn't been hitting, they've been slumping, and the manager has shuffled the lineup. But
Why did you just say that?
It just slipped my mind.
But I don't know how it could have slipped your mind. You said every other word in the English language.
Well, you know, in Chinatown, it's Jake. It's Chinatown. In the booth, it's Gary. It's a day game.
Next time we'll leave you out of the open for the day game. How about that? 2-2 to Bruce with Cespedes on deck. And he strikes him out with a changeup. Teheran has his first strikeout, and they're 2 away.
The Atlanta Brave defense brought to you by SNY. That's wonderful. Charlie Culberson gets a start at third base. Camargo, big home run last night, gets the start at shortstop. Swanson a little bit injured, wrist, I believe. This outfield has played great in this series, all 3 of them.
2 out and nobody on. Here's Cespedes. 4 for 8 in this series and riding an 8-game hitting streak. Best he's swung the bat all year. And he takes a high strike from Teheran, whose fastball velocity is down significantly from last year.
He's down. He's countered, though, by adding and subtracting on his breaking ball. That's why he's gotten off to a pretty good start.
I mean, he's throwing 87, 88. He was, 90, 91 most of last year.
57 and 54 in his career. This is his 169th start. Very durable, very dependable.
2-time All-Star and now 5-time opening day starter. He's only 27 and he's already made 5 opening day starts for the Braves. Their starting pitching has been awfully good. Rolled out to the left side. Albies playing in the shift. That's a 4-3 putout that ends the inning. So Teheran, after getting the lead, sets the Mets down 1-2-3. Second inning, Charlie Culberson leads off against Jason Vargas. Culberson starting for just the 5th time this year. Played with the Dodgers briefly last year, former first-round draft pick of the Giants, who's had sporadic big league playing time. Jason Vargas still trying to get settled in. Very rough first outing in San Diego and an equally rough first inning today. The Braves, though, have been attacking everybody early. They've now scored 32 first inning runs in 30 games.
49 plus 49 in their run differential. You know, they're first in what? Runs, hits, doubles, batting average, on base percentage, slugging, least amount of Ks in the National League. Doesn't get much better than that.
Well, they've got a nice mix right now, the Braves do. The 2 veterans in the middle of the batting order, Freeman and Markakis, both doing what they do, and then all the young talent around them. Albies and Acuna and Swanson and all those guys.
They got 3 guys in the lineup with over 20 RBI, and that would be Albies and Markakis with 20 and Freeman with 22. That's a lot of production right there. And they scored a lot of runs up the top of that lineup.
Culberson hits one on the ground for Rosario. 1 away. By the way, on the flip side, that first inning is already the 7th time this year in the Mets' first 29 games they've given up multiple runs in the first inning. Last year you thought it was an aberration. They gave up multiple runs in the first inning 31 times. They're ahead of that pace this year. Starting pitching is a huge concern for this team right now, even with 2 guys as incredibly talented and successful as deGrom and Syndergaard pitching every 5 days. Ball 1 to Julio Teheran, who's 0 for 8 at the plate this year, 146 lifetime hitter. And I wonder with the sore trap, is he going to be swinging the bat today?
It's a good call.
I guess so. I mean, deGrom today, when asked about injuring himself and hyperextending his elbow on a swing, he said he's actually done that a few times before. He's had some pain swinging the bat, and it makes you wonder whether he's going to be allowed to swing if he does indeed make his scheduled start on Monday.
I would think not. I would think he's going to. I know he loves to hit, and
but I'd put the hitting on the shelf for a while anyway, personally.
We still haven't seen Jason Vargas swing the bat. He had one plate appearance in San Diego when he walked.
He can hit a little bit.
He can, but he's
I don't know,
got
it's been so long
the broken right hand. You wonder whether he can grip it well. Looper into center field. Conforto's going to have to play that on a hop, and Teheran has his first hit of the season. And the 4th hit against Vargas today.
It was hit as slow as it was thrown in there. A little changeup from Vargas, and he just stuck the bat out there.
Off the end of the bat.
So 1 out and 1 on, and now Ender Inciarte, who has really thrived since they dropped him to the number 9 spot in the batting order. This is now the 4th straight game. Homered in the game last night, and he swings late on the fastball, 0-1. Inciarte, who had been leading off regularly, doesn't have the high on base percentage, so they figured, okay, how do we best utilize him? Well, put Albies at the top, put Inciarte at the bottom.
Oh, he's struggled against left-handers.
Reyes chasing it.
Tough
Can't
play.
quite get there. Nice effort by Jose, but a bad angle. And Inciarte's at bat continues.
Windy day, and it is a tough angle there.
Interesting that netting keeps players from spilling into the stands also.
I would be one thing I'd be afraid of in that netting is getting your fingers in there and breaking a finger. That is a possibility.
Well, the Braves have been hitting more than any team in the league, and they've got 4 guys in the top 5 in the National League in base hits.
I mean, that's a pace for 200 hits. 4 guys.
That may subside, but it's an awfully nice start.
Yeah.
1-2 coming in the dirt with a changeup, and it's 2-2 to Inciarte.
Brian Snitker done a nice job with this ball club.
And now he's got a chance maybe to win. Inciarte lifts one out to right, and Bruce looking into the sunshine. 2 out.
You know, there was some talk this winter. They weren't sure if he was going to come back.
Right.
And there was a lot of talk, especially from Freddie Freeman and others. They really wanted Brian back, and you know, he's reaping the rewards of this young new talent that they have. Of course, he knew all that young talent because he was down in the minor leagues forever.
And I think you'd have to say, having watched the Braves the last couple of years since Snitker took over, that he got the most out of what he had with a team that really wasn't designed to win.
Yeah.
Last year they only won 72 games, but you'd have to say that they maximized what they had.
Well, he set a foundation for this team to grow. So the older players, and Freeman and Markakis, I think Keith mentioned it, they're the kind of guys you want on your team to emulate, right? The way they play and play every day, and it makes the younger players go, boy, I need to be in there every day also.
Albies fouls back the high fastball, 1-2. Albies had an infield hit his first time up.
Starting to see, it's the third game now I've seen Albies. He's a swinger, and you can kind of elevate on him in the strike zone.
Hook down to third. Reyes can't field it cleanly. Goes to second. Gets the force. He knew he had Teheran running, and he got the force to end the inning. Teheran didn't bother to slide, and that gets Vargas through the top of the second. Still 3-0 Atlanta. Well, we were talking about Freddie Freeman and Nick Markakis and the example that they set for the younger Braves players, and Brian Snitker, the Braves manager, talked about just that earlier today.
They watch Freddie, you know, beat out infield hits and never not run balls out and take extra bases and score from first on a double and do all those little things to help us win a game. And it just speaks volumes to his makeup and who he is as a person and as a player, that he wanted nothing but what was the best for this team.
Remember also that when Matt Adams was hot last year, that Freddie Freeman voluntarily moved to third base.
Right.
I mean, how many players of his caliber would do that.
Most players tell you that they're not going to move from their position. So
it's a manager's dream to have a veteran player that sets the example. You can't have enough. It can be plural. The more the merrier. Young kids are going to look up, and you set the example by how you play the game. It makes the manager's job so much easier.
As Drupal Cabrera leading off the home second, and Teheran quickly falls behind him 3-0. Cabrera 1 for 7 in this series. Conforto and Gonzalez to follow against Teheran, who got the side in order in the first. And as Drupal takes a strike. Teheran early this season has seen his walk total balloon. It's averaging 4.8 walks per 9. That's not him. Foul by Cabrera, 3-2.
Yeah, always over half. 30 innings pitched, coming in with 16 walks. I mean, that's one thing I looked at on the pitcher stats for every pitcher. I looked at innings pitched to walks. If it was 30 and 15, I knew I'd get pitches to hit.
Well, he's changed somewhat in that regard, that's for sure. As Cabrera pops one foul, and that'll come back out of play. 2 years ago, Teheran was 2.0 walks per 9. Last year 3.4, and this year 4.8.
Well, he has evolved to a pitcher that has to occasionally pitch around certain hitters to get to others to work his way through a lineup because of the lack of 92, 93 plus. He's more in the 88, 89 range.
(3-2), and Cabrera fouls off another one. As Drupal starts the day 4th in the National League and batting at .327. He has been the major bright spot in an otherwise inconsistent Mets batting order from day one. Mets is a team of a .235 team batting average, 10th in the league, 9th in the league in runs scored. And Teheran strikes him out with a fastball, his second strikeout of the day.
It looked like it had a little cut on it, maybe.
I'd like to see that again. I almost thought he was out in front of this, but it was 90 miles an hour. Here's a good angle right here. He swung over it, that's for sure. He's a little out in front.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Michael Conforto, who sat last night against the left-hander, and that left-hander was spectacular. Sean Newcomb threw 7 scoreless innings, allowed only 2 hits. Conforto just 5 hits in his last 31 at bats. And in the first game of this series, for the first time this year, Conforto played a game in which he failed to reach base.
Slightly open in his stance, and he's just been too quick lifting that front shoulder and opening up, and that outside corner has been giving him trouble.
Flies this one out to right center, and across comes Markakis, and there are 2 out. Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. The Braves so far have dominated the season series. They've won 4 of 5, winning 2 of 3 in Atlanta, and the first 2 of this series. And you see the run disparity more than 2-1. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Adrian Gonzalez. Gonzalez 1 for 3 in this series. He likewise sat against the lefty last night, and he takes a fastball for a strike.
Teheran, you have to watch as an offense. He loves to work quick.
I find it's true with most pitchers. Once they get going, they speed up.
Good pitchers, the real good pitchers, they start to get a rhythm. When they get that rhythm, they want to get it and they want to throw it. And as an offense, sometimes you just got to step out and slow them down a little.
Gonzalez flies one out to right. Markakis looking through the sunglasses, misjudged it at first, but goes back to get it, and that retires the side. That wind is blowing out to right, and Markakis was equal to it. 6 up and 6 down for Teheran. The Braves up 3-0. The Rockies. All fans in attendance will receive a Jay Bruce t-shirt courtesy of First Data. Purchase tickets at Mets.com/tickets. Ronald Acuna leads off the third inning, hits one through the hole for a base hit, and that's how the third inning begins. Acuna with his third hit of the series. And now Freddie Freeman comes to bat.
Freddie has a swing that you would not want to emulate. It is a peculiar, odd swing. Hands high, watch him drop the hands. You've got to rotate the hips. You got to square up to the pitcher with your waist. Look at his hands back. He's got that bat wrapped around. Look at the top hand and the full extension. And this is a launch angle swing, folks. And this is how Freddie was swinging like this before launch angle became vogue. So this is his style. It is unique, but it works for Freddie. And obviously, look at that average. Quite a hitter.
I would say, though, on the pull side or up the middle, to me, Freddie is a top spin hitter. Now, he'll hit the ball to left field. He'll have some backspin on it. But when he pulls the ball, he usually comes over the top of the ball.
And that's why it seems, unlike a lot of guys who have sold out to the home run by putting more loft in their swing,
trying to lift it.
He handles the high pitch well.
Yes, he does.
Vargas ahead of him 0-2. And checks in on Acuna, who has one stolen base in his brief big league career.
He's got great speed, but he doesn't know how to steal bases yet.
You know, back to Freeman, Ronnie. We were talking earlier that Freeman has to have really good hand-eye coordination. You know, on a pitch upstairs, you know, you got a cylindrical bat and a spherical ball, and it's coming at you. And if you go head-on collision, that's the best chance of making contact. You saw Freddie's launch angle in his swing.
He pops that one up into shallow center. Conforto coming on to get it.
So you think about a ball coming in straight, parallel to the ground, and a launch angle swing. Okay, we'll just say, look at this angle. You got a ball, but that's a low ball, so you have to go down and get it. But the pitch upstairs we showed earlier, where the angle, whatever it is, 22 degrees, whatever, 25 degrees, but you got a ball coming straight at you. It's got to be, the timing's got to be perfect. It's just got to be perfect. And look at the eyes on the ball. And that's why Ronnie and I say he's got to have tremendous hand-eye coordination.
So here's my question about Freeman. Since he's such a good hitter and he's able to square up balls, and he's got the proper angle to hit home runs, how come he doesn't hit more home runs? I mean, he's a 25 to 30 home run guy. Pickoff play. Vargas picks him off, and Acuna's out at second. So Vargas working hard on keeping the young Acuna close. And he took off on first movement, and Vargas nails him.
Nice throw right there to Rosario. 3-6. 1-3-6, excuse me.
Fly ball, shallow center. Rosario out over the shoulder, can't get it. And it's a base hit for Markakis, and he's 2 for 2.
You know, getting back to Freeman, Gary, Ronnie and I both agree he must hit a lot of top spin humpback line drives, we used to call them. He's got that top hand working. He brings that bat over with that top hand.
So you think that's why he doesn't hit more home runs?
Yeah, especially to the pull side.
So Markakis at first with 2 out. Here's Suzuki hit a 2-run homer his first time, and he flies one out to Bruce. And Jay gets it fading away to retire the side. 2 hits and 1 left. Still 3-0 Atlanta in the third. a lot of people around baseball do. It's not necessarily the way you swing, it's the way the ball comes off the bat.
Right.
That refers to the launch angle.
So it kind of breaks it down. Obviously, the pop-ups are greater than 50 degrees. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, or the 10 degrees. Line drives, that's interesting to me. 10 to 25 degrees off the bat. I mean, that interests me.
So what you're looking for is that sweet spot between the line drive and the fly ball, right?
Yeah, but they want you to hit under the ball too, if I'm correct in the theory. Get the backspin on the balls. It leaves the bat. It travels further.
It's the problem. When I was playing, I did the algebra and I came up with 50 degrees. So that's what I lived with for my 10 years playing here.
Rosario drives one to center, but right at Inciarte.
Ball knuckled.
And so Rosario retired. Teheran set down the first 7.
So Keith was just saying that ball knuckled. For you folks at home, it's a weird feeling for an outfielder when that ball comes out and you think it's going to be a regular line drive, and then it starts dancing in the air and you get a little panicked.
So when a hitter hits a ball, a line drive, and it's a knuckle, folks, he's really squared the ball up and hit it right in the center.
So there's no spin.
Right. And that's nothing but havoc for an outfielder, because it's hit on the screws and it's a ball hit hard and then it's knuckling like Phil Niekro or Tim Wakefield. That's no fun.
Tomas Nido 1 for 3 in this series. Making his 8th start today. One, two coming. And the slider popped up. Freeman into foul ground. Markakis near the sidewall, and it lands beyond their reach. This is what's coming up for the Mets. Rockies are here over the weekend. Mentioned how well they've played on the road, and it's a little unusual in Rockies history.
Although the last 2 years they've played better on the road.
The Reds, the worst team in the National League, are on tap.
They're right.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Cincinnati.
They got where they always are in the bottom, and pitchers' ERAs. There were 8-team ERAs over 5. Boy, the wind is really blowing today. This is a tough fly ball pop-up day.
Between the sun and the wind on a 90-degree day. Nido strikes out in a fastball out of the strike zone, and that's 8 up and 8 down for Teheran to start his day.
There's horses for courses, aren't there? Mr. Teheran loves pitching at this ballpark.
Well, so have all the Braves pitchers.
Yeah.
Last night the Mets had a stretch where they had 18 straight hitters retired, and was interrupted by a Wilmer Flores double in the 9th. So 28 of the last 29 Met hitters have been retired, going back to the 3rd inning yesterday.
You know, I was mentioning before that Jason Vargas can hit. Listen, he hasn't hit for a long time, but when he was in college as a pitcher, he would DH on the days he didn't pitch.
Obviously, he cannot swing with that bad hand, so he drops down a bunt. That's the Gazelman method. Doesn't work out for him this time, and Teheran is perfect through 3. On to the 4th we go at Citi Field, 3-0 Atlanta.
named Hank Aaron that was a great player for Milwaukee last year along with you.
That's right, Ralph, and I'd have to say that out of all the ball players that I've played with, he's the greatest hitter that I've ever played with. You can't pitch him any certain way because he has a great wrist and he hits the ball consistently very hard, and I think the fans of New York are going to be very interested to see him. I know that we'd like to get him out.
At Mets Memory, presented by Burden LLP Accountants and Advisors. Ralph Kiner interviewing the original Frank Thomas about Hank Aaron. You know, that Hank Aaron.
Yes. With
Don Zimmer sitting and listening to the conversation. Johan Camargo flies one out to left center, and Cespedes is there, and that's how the fourth inning begins. One pitch and one out for Vargas.
Hammer had 20 or more home runs for 20 years in a row. Struck out average of 63 times a year. That's how the old guys used to do it. They didn't strike out.
It's funny we just brought this up into the broadcast because I was watching MLB this morning, and I just was on the way out, and they had footage of Hank Aaron hitting off that front foot and the wrists. It was just, I hadn't seen him swing in so long in his prime, and it was so fun.
Beautiful bunt by Culberson. Vargas can't get him, and Charlie Culberson has a bunt hit. Couldn't have rolled it out there any better.
If you want to know correct form on how to bunt for a base hit, this is it. Gets the angle, he sets it off the end of the bat, which kills it, and the angle is perfect. Can't go foul, but close enough to the line to play.
So now Teheran, who had a base hit his first time up, can go up there and bunt. He's a very good bunter. And he takes below the knees for ball one.
I was thinking, watching Ralph in that interview, we need that mic for you. That way, when Keith and I go too long, you can just rip it away, take it over.
Or you can. Often thought that might be a better plan to share one instead of having.
That would be a good idea.
Keith and I can't have nice things. We need you to take care of it.
Teheran looking down to his third base coach Ron Washington to make sure the bunt's still on.
It's one of the best. He sets the bat right atop the across the top of the strike zone, and if you set it that way any ball over it you can let go for a ball, and then he keeps his knees very pliable up and down so he does not get, or he's not relaxed. Pinches it.
That's a foul ball.
Yep. Good call.
But he's one of the best. I've got him for what, 53 sacrifices in his career. See how he's pinching that right hand, the thumb and fingers behind the bat. The thumb could even come a little more behind the back because you don't want the ball to clip it.
Told that to David Cohn, which,
right.
Gosh, Candlestick Park.
Hadley Hammaker. Teheran unable to get the bunt down, and now it's 2-2.
What's interesting when you got a bunt situation like this with a pitcher up, I just remember because it was always the pitcher. You put the bunt on the first time the third base coach, and the bunt stays on without the sign, so you don't go back to the same sign, tip off your bunt sign to the opposing manager.
Yeah.
It only comes off when you give the bunt sign again, which I thought was I thought was a great idea.
Gets it down in the third try. Vargas's throw goes to first. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Culberson to second with 2 out.
And the other part of it is his bottom hand. It serves as a rudder. It's so relaxed on the bat, and that if you have all your hands very relaxed until the ball comes, then when it hits the bat, it's going to deaden. It's going to jam it back into your right hand, which deadens the ball, and that's what he did right there. That's why Vargas couldn't go to second.
Third sacrifice of the year for Teheran, and now Ender Inciarte with 2 out and a runner at second. Inciarte flied out to right his first time up. And he takes the curveball outside for ball one.
I have this note. In the first inning they scored 3, so now the Braves have 80 2-out runs this year. I mean, that is making it happen.
That's in only 30 games.
Yeah, that's almost half of their runs.
So Charlie Culberson with the bunt hit here in the 4th inning. Wouldn't you be surprised if I told you that's his first career bunt hit?
Really?
Yeah.
I would think of him as that kind of player.
Exactly. And now 3-0. Today's Verizon trivia question. Well, the last time Jason Vargas pitched for the Mets in New York was at Shea Stadium against the Cubs, May 17th, 2007. Who had a walk-off single for the Mets that day? Now, I presume we were there, right? Second year of SNY.
Remember 7 minutes ago, but okay.
Wow.
Moise is on that team?
You know it had to be somebody obscure, right?
Yeah.
Like Chip Ambrose or somebody like that.
I love when we
ball 4 and Inciarte's on.
I love when we have these trivia and us three kind of discuss it and we'll throw a name out. Dave Freed at the end, because you never see him. He's always like, no. He's like, but you have the answer, Dave.
Well, it gives Dave the upper hand. It makes him feel like a sage, and that's good. We like to have our people confident. So 2 out of 2 on. Here's Ozzie Albies, an infield hit and a fielder's choice, 1 for 2 today. And Albies fouls one back.
You're right, Keith. He is a free swinger, especially from the right side. I think you're going to have to learn, if you're pitching against him, once you get ahead, I'd like to test him up in the strike zone, see if he'll offer it anything, even head high.
He's hitting exactly .500 as a right-hand batter this year. And he grounds this one. Rosario with a long throw to make, and just in time to get the speedy Albies, and that retires the side. Vargas works around traffic in the 4th, still 3-0 Atlanta. Doug Williams and SNY MLB insider Andy Martino discussed the Mets' recent hitting woes, the back end of the starting rotation, and Matt Harvey's not on the town. All on the latest Shea Anything podcast. Search SNY Mets and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Second time around the batting order for Julio Teheran. He went perfectly the first time through. Jose Reyes slashes one foul, and it's 0-2. Jose has been swinging the bat a little better lately. Made the last out of Tuesday night's game, a fairly well hit fly ball to left. Hit a home run in San Diego in his last start on Sunday. And he grounds this one on the right side. Nice easy hop for Albies. 1 out.
Well, so far, Teheran has lived up to the billing. He's kept Met hitters off balance by changing speeds.
So here's where we're at. Going back to the 3rd inning last night, 30 of the last 31 Met hitters have been retired. Wilmer Flores' 9th inning double, the only base runner. Jay Bruce takes ball 1. Braves have been getting great starting pitching. Teheran, of course, always pitches well against the Mets, but you go back the last 24 games, and the Braves starters have an ERA of 2.48. So they're getting contributions from all quarters right now. And with their offense hitting on all cylinders, not surprising that they've moved into first place. Jay Bruce struck out his first time up, and he pulls the swing there, 2-1.
So here's where you like to watch, folks. If you're on the bench, Mets offense, what is he going to throw Jay Bruce? 2-1. Could give you a little inside to when you take your at bat.
Came at him with a fastball.
Sometimes the score dictates what you throw to a hitter. 3-run lead, you challenge him, right? 2-1.
You're the pitcher.
What?
Is that what you do?
Not anymore.
I have to agree with you, Ron. You're the pitcher.
You don't have to.
And Bruce goes down on a high fastball. That's 4 strikeouts for Teheran. Second time he's gotten Bruce. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, he's in a nice rhythm right now. This is his very good inning for him so far. Pumping strikes, going up in the strike zone. I think pitchers are finally wising up on that upper area of that strike zone against the hitters today.
And if you're ahead of the curve, you are in the major leagues teaching your hitters how to handle and lay off that ball up, aren't you? If you're ahead of the curve.
Well, if you can't hit it, you got to lay off it. I learned that in the League of Their Own.
I mean,
well, that's the story with Jeter and Yogi. That when Jeter came up and he was chasing the high one, and he said, came in and he goes, I can't hit it, Yogi. Yogi says, well, don't swing at it. He goes, well, you did. He goes, yeah, but I could hit it.
Well, you know what Yogi said. You can't hit and think at the same time. I didn't think Yogi would have handled the analytics.
That's a good point.
2-1 to Cespedes, who grounded out into the shift his first time up. Remember that Teheran is coming off a shortened start his last time out. Left after 3 innings against the Phillies on Friday with a strained trapezius muscle. They gave him 1 extra day's rest, pushed him back to today, so he's going on 5 days rest, and he has been perfect so far. Behind on Cespedes, 3-1, and 2 high, and the Mets have their first base runner of the day. A 2-out walk in the 4th.
Not getting, this is the first umpire in a while here behind the plate, Nick Lentz, who is not calling that borderline high strike. But he's been consistent.
So now it's Cabrera, who struck out his first time up. So Teheran working out of the stretch for the first time today. And a late swing on a fastball. Remember, Cabrera struck out on a 3-2 fastball his first time up.
This entire series, that pitch that starts in the middle and runs away from him as a left-handed hitter, he's been laid on.
That's drilled to right field. Markakis steadies and goes down to get it, and that retires the side. So Cabrera hit that ball hard. Markakis stays with it, and the Mets remain hitless through the first 4 against Julio Teheran. They get their first base runner, but strand Cespedes. 3-0 Atlanta after 4. first. He has settled in since then. Ronald Acuna leads off the fifth and hits a rocket deep to left. Forget that. That is way out of here into the second deck. A monstrous home run off the bat of Ronald Acuna, his second big league home run, and it was very impressive. 4-0 Atlanta.
Third time through the order. Looked like he was sitting on something there first pitch. And I think it was a high fastball. The other home run he gave up to Suzuki was a high fastball. We'll take a peek right here. Yep, that was a little cutter.
Yeah, you're right. Little cutter.
Belt high. All over it.
Up in the Cespedes seats.
Ooh. You could see Acuna someday being a Cespedes kind of player, couldn't you?
He's got that kind of talent.
Right. I was
second big league home run.
I was trying to think the other day as Freddie gets ready for this pitch of a comp, and Cespedes came to mind of an active player, but I was thinking of a guy that Keith and I both played against, Cesar Cedeno, played for the Houston Astros, who had speed and power and just played in that big ballpark, the Astrodome.
Went over to Cincinnati.
Yep.
Whitey Herzog picked him up. Remember in that great run against us. Yep. He had the great September. Was that 87 that he had the great? He had a great September for Whitey.
Borderline strike, and Freddie will come back. Well, Acuna has kind of a similar build to Cedeno. He's probably a little broader than Cesar Cedeno was. And there's ball 4. So Freeman's on base with a walk. Second one given up by Vargas today.
I mean, at some point, I mean, I don't know how much Cespedes weighs. 225, maybe 230. You could see Acuna Jr. being that kind of size. Cespedes 6 foot tall, also. Maybe a little shorter.
Yeah, Cespedes probably 5'10".
Yeah.
So now Markakis is already 2 for 2, doubled in a run in the first, had a bloop single in the third. He's just raging hot right now, and he flies this one out to right center. Back in the gap goes Bruce to the wall, and it's out of here. Nick Markakis, second home run of the inning for the Braves. His 5th home run of the year, a 2-run shot to make it 6-0 Atlanta. Third home run against Jason Vargas today. And after appearing to settle in the last couple of innings, he gets blitzed here in the 5th.
Mr. Markakis. What an impressive series. Scalding left-handers.
Double and a single and a home run today. And the Mets bullpen gets cranking as Vargas, second start of the season, and it's going very much like the first, and Matt Harvey begins to loosen up. Suzuki got a 2-run homer in the first inning, and he lines this one into center for a base hit, and the hits just keep on coming.
And the fans are unhappy.
Dave Allen will come out to see if he can be of any use.
I mean, no one knows Jason Vargas more than Dave Eiland, who was his pitching coach in Kansas City. And he won 18 games last year.
Tied for the major league lead in wins with 18, and most of that accomplished in the first half of the season. He made the All-Star game for the first time in his career. Struggled the second half of the year. They chalked that up to the fact that he really hadn't pitched in 2 years, coming off Tommy John surgery.
And I don't know what his changeup usage is so far in these first 2 starts, but it's certainly not a third of the time. It's been mostly fastballs and curveballs.
There's Johan Camargo, and he hits a fastball deep to left field, down the line, headed toward the pole. Just foul. One of the theories that was advanced after his first start in San Diego went so badly, I don't know if there's any validity to this, was that when he was rehabbing, coming back from the broken glove hand, working behind an L screen, that he developed some mechanical issues pitching with the screen in front of him.
Well, the explanation I heard is you end up pitching around your body because you're almost pitching around the screen. The only validity I can give it, I would never use the L screen. When I pitched in any kind of simulated game or against my teammates, I would never ever use the L screen.
But I guess the circumstance here was he couldn't catch the ball because he had the broken right hand.
He had to protect himself.
Right.
But I was a little fearful that it's just something that you wouldn't have normally, so it might alter. So that's why I didn't use it.
He uses the changeup to strike out Camargo, and that's the second time he's gotten Camargo. His only 2 strikeouts of the day. So that's the first out of the inning after home run, walk, home run, single, and now Charlie Culberson, who had the bunt hit his last time up.
I think Vargas is suffering from, a spring training that wasn't to be. A guy who gets hurt. I don't care how many simulated games you throw against 17-year-olds. It's not going to prepare you for the big boys.
So I guess the question is, in retrospect, and obviously it's easy to say this in retrospect, maybe you should have had more than one rehab start in a real game.
Well, there was, maybe they felt like there was a need, I guess. Matt had been struggling and they wanted to make the move there. They didn't have to.
Now he's throwing the changeup.
That's probably what Island went out there and told him, right?
Six runs and 10 hits against Vargas today. He gave up 9 runs and 9 hits in less than 4 innings in his first start. Teheran now 6 runs to the good. Waiting on deck. On the inside corner, and Culberson is caught looking for this second out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Vargas.
And this after the meeting with Island. Let's see him hit the corner. Too close to take. He's got a gripe, but that was a pitch that went the call went the pitcher's way there.
So 2 out. Suzuki still at first. Here's Teheran, and he takes a rip, 0-1. Teheran a bloop single in the second, a sacrifice in the fourth. Dave Island finding out Matt Harvey's status as he loosens up in the bullpen. Slapped to the right side, and Teheran's got himself another hit. So Teheran, who didn't have a hit coming into the day, now has 2 of them this afternoon. And that's going to be all for Jason Vargas. So 2 ugly starts in a row for Vargas to begin the second part of his Mets career. And he will leave after 4 2/3 this afternoon, having allowed 11 hits and 6 runs. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Matt Harvey coming in relief. 6-0 Atlanta. We'll be right back to Citi Field. Fourth relief outing for Matt Harvey. Comes in to face Ender Inciarte. It's a hot shot to short. Rosario takes it to the bag. Harvey throws one pitch and gets the third out of the inning. After the Braves put up a 3 spot with a couple of home runs against Vargas. 6-0 Atlanta halfway through. "90-degree afternoon, perfect day to be doing just about anything at the ballpark or just the park. Tomorrow night, the Colorado Rockies are in town for the first of 3. Our coverage begins at 6:30 tomorrow night right here on SNY. For more on the Rockies, let's go to the City Pavilion and to Steve Gelbs' report today is brought to you by City. Steve?
You guys were talking about this really early in the game, but it's been kind of a weird season for the Rockies so far. 17-15. They scored 11 runs last night, but outside of that, the offense has been really dormant. Prior to that, on the road trip, the first 5 games of the road trip, they only scored 7 runs. They do lead the National League in home runs, like you said, but their batting average is a combined .226. It's second lowest in the National League. They average 4 runs per game, which is 10th in the National League, and it's really been the pitching that's been holding them up, especially over these last 8 games. The pitchers have an ERA under 2. The starters have been really, really good, and on the road, which is really how you judge these starting pitchers for the Rockies, 16 out of 20 games this year, they've given up 3 earned runs or fewer.
I want to give Adam Ottavino's line this year.
Yeah.
Relief pitcher for the Rockies.
It's unbelievable.
And a Brooklyn kid.
Yes.
So we give him a little extra.
Living in Manhattan right now, but yeah, okay, go ahead.
17 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 4 walks, 31 strikeouts, 0.53. Now that's a good start. Michael Conforto pops one foul.
He's got the hard sinker ball, right? Sinker ball, I remember.
He has worked on his slider. There's a good piece. I'm sorry, I don't know where I read it. I read so much stuff now. But there's a great piece on what he did this winter. His father-in-law had an empty building in Harlem, and he went in there and set up an entire thing to throw and monitor his pitching and spin rate and all that as Conforto goes down swinging, and figured out his breaking ball, which was so nasty, but no one was swinging at it. So he tried to figure out, how can I make it just as nasty, but it's a pitch that the hitters will offer at. And throughout the whole winter, in this empty, bleak space, left open by his father-in-law as a real estate guy, he figured it out. That's a pretty cool thing.
5 strikeouts now for Teheran. And now Adrian Gonzalez takes the fastball away. Adrian hit a fly ball to the warning track at right his first time up. Teheran has walked 1, struck out 5, has yet to allow a hit. In the air to right, Markakis right there. 2 out.
He has just kept the Met hitters off. They've hit several fly balls to right field. He's either getting it on their hand on the label or he's getting it at the end of the bat. He's really keeping the Met hitters off balance. I've said it once before. It's continuing. That's why he's got a no-no right now.
Well, he threw 7 scoreless innings against the Mets in Atlanta 12 days ago, and he's got 4 2/3 hitless innings so far today as he takes on Ahmed Rosario. Lined out to center his first time up, and he takes a slider for a strike. And that's toward the middle. Albies on the backhand. The quick toss in time to get Rosario. And Julio Teheran has held the Mets hitless for the first 5. On to the 6th, 6-0 Atlanta. For Free Shirt Friday, all fans attending tomorrow night's game at Citi Field will receive a Jay Bruce t-shirt to call their own. Visit Clover.com and learn how Clover can be your business's MVP this season.
There it is. Bruce with a nice signature. Met logo.
How many U's?
Oh, 3. 3 U's.
3 U's.
And on the back, nothing.
What were you looking for on the back exactly, Keith?
Maybe a number.
Albies retired on the 3-1 putout for the first down. Can I see that shirt for a second?
Yes, you can.
So, what size is it? So it's big.
Yeah, it's big. It's a big shirt. Looks like a double XL maybe.
Jay's got a nice signature.
He does.
That's very nice.
Very nice.
That's
very
big
nice.
league.
Yeah.
Show
nice.
this too. This is Kerry told me to show this. Clover.
Oh, Clover on the sleeve.
Your business MVP.
First data
Yeah,
cut.
show
Yep,
that.
yep.
Very nice. Yes, it's in green.
There you go.
Because it's Clover.
It's Clover.
Clover green.
It's an Irish thing.
Anyway, that's Free Shirt Friday tomorrow night. Ronald Acuna hit a very impressive home run his last time up against Jason Vargas. One of 3 home runs Vargas allowed in his 4 2/3 innings. He allowed 6 runs, 11 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. His ERA through 2 starts is 16.20. A lot to carry around. And Harvey goes upstairs to strike out Acuna. And through 3 batters at least, this is the best we've seen Matt out of the bullpen. That was 94 miles an hour on that last fastball.
There's the upstairs heater.
Put some mustard on it.
So 2 out and nobody on now. Freddie Freeman, who's 0 for 2 and a walk today. This is down with a slider. 2-0.
Well, each and every chance that Matt gets to go out on that mound from the bullpen is a chance for him to improve and get a little better.
Fly ball pretty deep to left center. Conforto onto the warning track at the wall to make the catch, and he held on after his glove smacked the fence.
It's head too.
Nice concentration by Michael to reel that in right before he got to the blue padding.
Look at
Home 6th inning. Tomas Nido leads off and drives one down the left field line. Foul.
Oh, nice catch.
That is a great barehanded grab.
very nice, sir.
2 hands too, Keith.
Yes,
Good fundies.
Yes, he did. I wonder if he would have caught it if he had his glasses off. Ooh. Oh, it almost. Oh, see, the 2 hands worked. You saw it.
Looks a little bit like Al down there.
That right thumb's going to be a little sore.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Get himself a cold one, hold it for a while, ice it. There's Al.
Al.
You never know, Al might not be behind the camera sometimes.
Al's got a very attractive pair of Bermuda shorts on today.
Nido struck out his first time up. Matt Harvey's out on deck.
There he is. Look at that. Al.
It's approaching sleepwear, you know.
Let me tell you, the cameramen are all happy it's hot out. They've been out here in the cold weather freezing their you know what off. I mean, it has been freezing for them out there. This has got to be lovely for them.
Well, we should have one more day of hot tomorrow, and then it's supposed to cool down. But at least we got a taste for a few days of what's coming up during the summer. You know, it's the summer game.
It's supposed to be.
Teheran has struck out 5 this afternoon. Nito pops one up. Freeman looking through the sunglasses. 1 out. Let's check in with Doug Williams for a game break brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Doug. It's hard to believe. Harvey rolls one out to short. And Camargo dares him to run and throws him out 2 away.
Is it hard to believe, Gary? Is it?
You know, I guess it's less hard to believe as I go along. You know, with the Mets having not had a hit yet in this game, I'm reminded that they were no hit for 6 innings earlier this year by Harley Garcia, who got pulled with a no-hitter intact after 6.
That's right. It was his first start. There's always a reason to take him out.
Sure.
Never a reason to let him pitch.
Well, I don't know. The Padres earlier this year let Tyson Ross throw 127 pitches.
And he's had, what, 20 surgeries in the last 2 years?
Right.
I mean, I'm overstating.
I guess that makes him expendable now. Last night, James Paxton struck out 16 for the Mariners in 7 innings, 105 pitches, and they took him out.
Took him out, and they lose the game.
Yep.
Did you see he had 31 swing and misses? 31.
Great fastball. 2-1 to Reyes, who's popped up and grounded out. I mean, he had 2 innings to get to 20 to tie, or 21 to break the major league record, and didn't get that chance.
It just takes away from striving to be the best you can be.
Albies in front of the ground ball, and Teheran starting to get interesting now. 1, 2, 3, 6. He's now got no hit ball through 6 innings. Visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Well, Nick Markakis needs a triple for the cycle.
Mets had the no triples defense on in the outfield.
He's got 18 triples in his major league career, 1 last year.
If he can get it over the head of Conforto, he's got a shot.
Last Braves cycle was Freddie Freeman 2 years ago. The Mets in their 57-year history have only allowed 3 cycles and only 1 in Flushing. Name that Keith is very familiar with. 1970 for the Dodgers. Wes Parker is the only opposing player ever to have a cycle in Flushing.
And that's a good pitching staff back in those days.
Wes Parker was a great fielder, right?
Yes, he was.
Well, you know, when they came out with the all-time Gold Glove team, we expected Keith's name to be on it, and Wes Parker was the guy they selected.
Yes, there was.
Now, I don't, you know, I wasn't old enough to really see Wes in his heyday. Do you remember him, Keith?
I do, because I watched the Dodgers all the time. Wes was a fine fielder, no question about it.
Also appeared on a lot of TV shows, right?
I actually was leading in that balloting for forever, throughout the entire balloting, and then there was a big push in Los Angeles to vote for Wes Parker, and that's how I lost it. Kind of like that big push when I won the best mustache contest over Raleigh Fingers. And
I would have taken the Gold Glove over the mustache.
You know,
personally,
it all depends on your priorities. You know, Gold Gloves are ephemeral. Mustaches last forever. Markakis on base for the 4th time. And here's Kurt Suzuki, who has a home run today, and he pops one up into shallow right. Bruce battling the sun, doesn't see it, so Conforto comes over to get it. And that's the first out. Bruce never saw that ball in the sunshine, as the sun field gets a little more problematic. Let's go to Doug Williams in the studio for another game break. Nats trying to win their 5th in a row.
Trevor Williams has been a big surprise. 4-1 coming into this game.
Yeah. Here's Johan Camargo. Well, the Nats haven't lost since they moved Harper to the leadoff spot.
as I was trying to say in the open, Gare, you change the lineup, you juggle the lineup.
Is that what you were trying to say?
That's what I forgot to say.
Oh.
If I said a whole lot more.
You know, it strikes me we're in the 7th inning now, and there are probably some folks watching who didn't get to see your open. Maybe we should replay it now.
It's one you want to throw in the trash bin.
I think we just need to replay our reaction after the open was done. That's all we should show.
What do you do to? Is there a way you can acid wash it or something like that?
Get it out of there.
Shred it.
Oh, it was just brutal.
It was awful, folks.
Look at this. I couldn't find a way out of Dodge.
Here's ball 4 and Camargo's on. So 2 walks in the inning for Harvey.
My producer.
I didn't know they kept the camera rolling after.
Oh, and my producer Greg Picker, our producer, like around 5 seconds before maybe 7 seconds before I finally got off, was saying, "Commercial, Keith, wrap it up."
And it's one of those things where you just couldn't find the parachute.
Oh, I couldn't, and because I forgot my whole point, and I was lost.
Happens to all of us, you know.
Kind of like that time when I handed you the cord on the microphone.
That's my favorite one so far. Keith's mic wasn't working.
No.
It became disconnected from the cord, and instead of just coming in and sharing the microphone, he's trying to hand me the cord like I'm supposed to fix it for him. While we're in the middle of the open. Good times. Culberson has a bunt single in 3 at bats, and he goes after the fastball and misses 1-1. I thought it was interesting last night when the Mets did not know exactly what Jacob deGrom's fate was going to be with the hyperextended elbow. Now looks like deGrom might well make his next start, but the 2 names that Mickey Callaway floated as possible rotation replacements were Corey Oswalt and Matt Harvey.
That's right. He likes the Lugo Gazelman pair in the bullpen. He doesn't want to upset that at all.
So I guess the question then becomes, at this point, and he's making his 4th relief appearance today, what have we seen from Matt from an encouraging standpoint if indeed the spot did open up in the rotation.
Well, I think you're going to need not only this is the perfect outing, really, to tell you the truth. Mets are down 6, and he can be out there for extended period of time, and he can show you what he's trying to improve on.
Over short, a base hit. Markakis around third. He'll come in to score. First to third goes Camargo. Charlie Culberson with an RBI single. His first run batted into the season makes it 7-0 Atlanta. So the walks come back to hurt Harvey and result in a run.
Markakis now 3 hits, 3 runs scored, 3 RBI. That's just a little trying to be a slider, just ends up being a little hanging small cutter right in the middle of the plate, and Culberson does a nice job of getting the base hit. So the question is, as I'm watching Matt, watching him as a reliever as opposed to all the years we've watched him as a starter.
Teheran cracks one out to center. That'll get a run in. Tagging at third is Camargo. He'll walk in with the 8th Atlanta run. Teheran having a big day. 2 hits, a sacrifice, and now a sacrifice fly to add to his no-hit pitching. And it's now 8-0 Atlanta.
Jumped all over that first pitch fastball. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you at home, folks, is I'm trying to withhold judgment of Harvey until he's had a half dozen of these under his belt to figure out, how to get loose, how to be ready, how to be at his best. The only problem I have is sometimes it can be counter. I only know this because I was sent to the pen myself after, 7, 8 years or whatever. It can sometimes be counterintuitive because when you come in the game as a reliever, you end up shrinking your arsenal as opposed to expanding it. What I mean is you go to 2 pitches instead of the 4 pitches, and really for him to advance where he wants to be, he's got to include all of his pitches all of the time.
That's a good point, Ron. I never thought of that, and I see your point there. I agree 100%.
I mean, the last couple of starts they were imploring him to use his changeup more. He tried to do it. He got hit around. It's hard to use your changeup when you're coming in for an inning at a time. I guess that's what you're saying.
And I will say, and change up there, I will say it's not an easy transition because it's not only about stuff. It's about what's inside of you. If you've got this alpha male, macho, go after hitters and blow them away, it's hard to, every time you're in that position, to go soft instead of hard, because you've always done that for what? 28 years you've done that. And now you're being asked to do the opposite. That's why most people don't make the transition from a power pitcher to a finesse pitcher.
Now he's behind Inciarte 3-1. And he walked him, the 3rd walk of the inning that Matt has issued. And Dave Allen will pay a visit. Harvey retired his first 4 hitters between the 5th and 6th, but the walks have hurt him here in the 7th, resulted in a couple of runs, and now Ozzie Albies will be coming up with 2 out and 2 on. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. Jason Vargas, last home start for the Mets was in May of 2007. Who had a walk-off single for the Mets that day?
Carlos.
Jerry Blevins up in the Mets bullpen. Well, it makes sense. I mean, nobody had more RBIs in a game in Mets history than Carlos Delgado.
That was at Yankee Stadium, correct?
It was the first half of a
doubleheader. That's right.
Stadium day-nighter.
Big day. He had as good a year that, what was it, the first year, Gary, in that cleanup spot of any cleanup hitter in Met history. It was
06, yeah.
It was unbelievable year he had.
I remember after that game at Yankee Stadium, coming over to Queens, I thought that was surreal. I really enjoyed
with the
bus,
the police escort, and traffic on all the major thoroughfares at rush hour being stopped.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they didn't like that.
That was my thought.
I found it surreal.
I wouldn't have wanted to be one of those people.
No, of course not.
Albies cracks one to deep right center. Back goes Conforto near the wall, and it's out of here. Ozzie Albies with his 10th home run of the year, a 3-run shot to put the icing on the cake for Atlanta. It's now 11-0 Braves. Fourth home run of the day for Atlanta. And the Braves on the verge of sweeping a 3-game series at Citi Field.
Fastball belt high out over the plate. The Braves have found that right center field much to their liking. There it is, out over the outer half of the plate, full extension, belt high.
High follow through.
Well, one thing we have certainly seen in the 6 games that the Mets have played against the Braves, and even more so in this series with Acuna having joined them, there is some unbelievable young talent on this team. These 2 guys at the top of the batting order, Albies and Acuna, they're something else.
Well, yep, that's almost dead central in the strike zone.
Acuna drives one to right center, and that's down for a base hit, his 3rd hit of the day. And the Braves are putting a big hurting on Matt Harvey and the Mets, and that's going to be all for Matt. Jerry Blevins will come in to face Freddie Freeman. Mets got swamped last night 7-0 after deGrom left. They're down 11-0 today. And Harvey's day is over, as Vargas's was before him. Jerry Blevins in to face Freddie Freeman, who's the 9th man up in this 7th inning. Braves have put up a 5 spot. Jerry Blevins trying to get his nemesis Freeman out.
Boy, an uneven start, and Harvey lost right now.
Matt Harvey giving up 5 runs here in the 7th inning, including the 3-run homer to Ozzie Albies after he had fared pretty well over his first inning and a third of work. It blew up on him here in the 7th thanks to 3 walks. You see the numbers for Freeman against Blevins, including 2 hits in the series in Atlanta last week. Well, we're taking your questions after the game on Cadillac Postgame Extra, so tweet us your question with the hashtag GaryKeithRon and check out sny.tv for Cadillac Postgame Live, Postgame Extra, and see if we answer your question. Be nice. 1-2 coming, and the curveball misses down. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Jerry's been having a hard time with that, getting that breaking ball over, and he hasn't found the range.
Oh, that one caught the home plate umpire, Nick Lentz.
Catch him in the bicep. Oh, he thumbs up. Let's go. I like that. Left bicep.
No. Oh, that's a hard punch. Jeez.
Got him right at the bottom of where that chest protector extends on his shoulder, so I think it absorbed a little bit of the blow.
Might have got to wear his car. Why would he have his pin exposed like that there too?
They all do.
They all do. That's their scorecard.
Yep.
I love it. Thumbs up. Let's go.
The old reminds me of the old Stan Stasiak in The Gladiator. That was his Stan Stasiak at the hard punch.
With a pen?
No, it was a wrestling hold. It was his wipeout move. Stan Stasiak was the hard punch.
Like Chief Jay Strongbow had the sleeper hold.
Right. Okay. Exactly. And the suplex.
Three-two to Freeman. That's pulled foul.
Freddie's on everything, isn't he? He's just a tough out. I have not seen this Brave lineup clicking like this, and in this particular group, I mean, they are on all cylinders.
Well, they already have 40 hits in this series.
Well, they came in here. They came in here #1 in runs and batting average.
Freddie pops one up in foul ground, and that heads toward the seats.
Pretty much showed everybody why.
Well, when you got a 21-year-old leading off, already with 10 home runs, you got a 20-year-old hitting second who has made quite a splash in his first week, and then you got Freeman and Markakis. That's a lot of offense to contend with right out of the box. Ninth pitch of the at bat from Blevins, and Freeman takes the curveball for strike 3 called, and the inning comes to an end. Braves put up a 5 spot, highlighted by Albies' home run. It's 11-0. Third time in Julio Teheran's career that he's gone 6 innings without allowing a hit. Now he starts the 7th with Jay Bruce. Jay has been up twice, struck out both times. 2 of the 5 strikeouts for Teheran today. Cespedes and Cabrera to follow as the Mets look to get on the board. And that 88-mile-an-hour fastball looking a lot faster.
It's looking a lot faster because he's coupling it with good changeups, changing speeds, adding, subtracting on his breaking ball.
Bruce pops one up. Back goes Culberson. In comes Acuna. Out goes Camargo, the shortstop, to make the grab. Camargo was playing on the right side of the infield. Had a very long way to go, and he was, I think, the only one who was going to get there.
So much unlike what happened in the first game of the series when the Mets tried to get a break on a pop-up on the other side of the outfield, similar to this in the 9th inning that dropped. That was a case where Camargo wanted that ball.
Yeah, he did.
Camargo getting the start at short today because Dansby Swanson has a sore wrist, and making a nice play there to keep the no-hit bid intact for Teheran. Now Cespedes has been the Mets' only base runner today. He drew a walk in the 4th. And he takes it high for ball 1.
Keith, I always wanted to know, as a fielder, are you starting to feel it a little bit defensively? You're always on point, but even more on point when a guy's got a no through 6.
No question.
Yeah,
absolutely no question. You go out there. It's very much like that 6th game in Houston. We won extra innings in that 6th game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Where every inning we went out there, we had to be on point. And you want your pitcher to get that no-hitter, and you don't let him know. But everybody in that field is aware that the pitcher has got a no-no.
He's probably aware too.
Certainly.
Cespedes pops one foul. That'll come back out of play. 2-2. We've already had one no-hitter in the major leagues this year. Sean Manaea against the Red Sox. Only one last year.
Manaea's pitching today, in fact, for Oakland. What did his pitching?
I remember Scherzer's no-no.
Mets were no-hit twice in 2015. Right. Once by Scherzer, but earlier in the season, Chris Heston of the Giants no-hit them. Cespedes down on strikes. That's 6 for Teheran, and there are 2 out in the 7th. This is as far as the Mets have gone in a game this year without a hit.
Sneaky fastball. It's got to have life, Ron. He's beating people with it. It says 91 on the gun. It's just got to have some life.
That was supposed to be down and away, kind of cutting fastball, and just kind of backed up and in.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Cabrera, who probably has the hardest hit ball for the Mets today, lined out to right field his last time up. Ball that Markakis had to do a half slide for. There haven't been any stunning defensive plays by the Braves. A couple of line drive outs, that one by Cabrera, and Rosario's liner to center in the 3rd.
Not yet, anyway. There always seems to be one if magic happens for a pitcher.
Remember Gregor Blanco in the Matt Cain perfect game. Rusty Greer in the Kenny Rogers perfect game.
Queen's kid in left field was pretty good here June 1st.
Mike Baxter. Teheran has gone as far as 7 2/3 in his career. That was against the Pirates in 2013. Brandon Inge broke that up with 2 out in the 8th. 1-2 to Cabrera. And keep in mind that Teheran is making this start following a start in which he left because of injury. Got 1 extra day. Perhaps that's an optimistic way of looking at Jacob deGrom's next start.
Here we go.
One-two to Cabrera. Breaking ball drilled down the right field line, and the Mets have their first hit of the day. Cabrera legs it to second with a 2-out double, and after Julio Teheran held them without a hit for 6 2/3, the Mets finally reached safely.
Well, he tried to take a little bit off this breaking ball, but he wanted it to be in the dirt because he was ahead in the count, and he did not get it there. Left it first strike.
And how apropos here that it's Cabrera, the Mets' most consistent hitter all season long, is the one who breaks up the doubleheader of the no-hitter.
Now Conforto, who's flied out and struck out, and he takes the fastball away for ball 1. Before that double by Cabrera, the Mets had 1 hit in their previous 13 innings. It was Flores a double in the 9th last night. So this offense is just on brownout right now. They were shut out last night for the first time this season.
And I'm surprised despite the no-hit bid, no one's up in the bullpen. You would think that, you know, if something, I know it's 11-0, but you don't want this young man to have to throw any more pitches than he has to in a blowout game.
Well, particularly coming off,
yeah, that's what I mean,
the minor injury problem he had. And it was they said it was a strained trapezius. It was only precautionary, but anytime you have any kind of physical ailment, you'd think they'd try to limit him if they can. He comes upstairs on Conforto and gets another swinging strike.
It's a ball, right, Keith? That pitch?
Yeah, it is. It's he's got life upstairs. Beat him big time.
Two, and that's ball 3.
So Newcomb started yesterday, gave up 2 hits in 7 innings, and only 1 hit given up here by Teheran in 6 2/3.
Only his 3rd 3-ball count of the night. He walked 1. He struck out 6. And there's ball 4, and so Conforto draws Teheran's 2nd walk of the day. And Adrian Gonzalez will come up with 2 men on. Chuck Hernandez, the Braves pitching coach, on the phone to the bullpen, so we'll get some action in a moment. Marty Reed, the bullpen coach, on the other end. So Gonzalez at the plate with 2 out and 2 on. Keep in mind that Met pitchers still need to get 6 more outs in this game. The other day, when the Mets were involved in a blowout loss in San Diego, Mickey Callaway opined that if he needed a position player to pitch, it would probably be Adrian Gonzalez. Hit slowly toward the middle. Albies on the backhand. The throw is wide, and everybody's safe. And the bases are loaded. An infield hit for Adrian Gonzalez. He doesn't get many of those.
I could make the argument here on air on the throw.
Yeah.
An E4.
I thought inexperienced. He didn't have to throw it on the run. He could have stopped and with the speed of, or lack of speed of Gonzalez, pegged one over there. But
I would have, if I was a scorer, I would have given it an E4. But it's a hit.
So bases loaded, 2 out, and here is Rosario, who's lined to center and grounded to second, 0 for 2, and Chuck Hernandez going to go out and pay a visit to Teheran, who has not needed much counsel so far today. Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night, 11 o'clock. We'll have more on this game and all the basketball and hockey playoff action as well. Geico Sports Night, 11 o'clock every night, SNY.
I just given him a little breather here. They would nothing they would like more, Brian Snitker and Chuck Hernandez, and just get Teheran this one last out, get him 7 innings, and into the showers.
Jesse Biddle, one of the 4 left-handers in that Atlanta bullpen, getting himself ready. The first action of the day behind Teheran, who had not allowed a hit till 2 out here in the 7th. A double to Cabrera, a walk to Conforto, an infield hit for Gonzalez, and now Rosario with a chance to get the Mets on the board for the first time today. Ahmed 1 for 9 in this series, and he takes up and away for ball 1.
Ball's starting to get up in the zone for Teheran.
Yes,
so,
which is a sign of weary.
Yeah,
getting weary,
getting tired.
Rosario pops one foul, coming back toward the seats and out of play. So the Mets have 2 hits today, both by left-hand hitters, Cabrera and Gonzalez. Coming into the day, in Julio Teheran's 21 games against the Mets, Mets right-hand hitters have hit 131, and that's only gone down today. That's a lot of games to have that low a batting average against. And now he's ahead on Rosario, 1-2.
I mean, I think I mentioned before, in his 20 starts, 21 today, batting average is under 200 completely. Left-handed, right-handed hitters. Only 2 pitchers had that many starts: Jim Maloney and Sandy Koufax.
Jim Maloney, who threw a 10-inning no-hitter against the Mets, only to have it broken up in the 11th on a Johnny Lewis home run.
I don't know what that's for.
Johnny Lewis,
1965. Rosario pops it up. Freeman waiting for it in foul territory, and that retires the side. Rosario did not run to first, and that's not the first time that's happened.
Boy.
After 7, 11-0 Atlanta. Second base, Michael Conforto moves from center to left. Juan Lagares in to play center field, and Brandon Nimmo comes in to play right. Jerry Blevins, who got the final out of the 7th, stays on to start the 8th against the left-hand batter Nick Markakis. And we'll get you how they're hitting as soon as that becomes available. Waiting for Bill Welke, the first base umpire, to join the fray. Now he's out there. Blevins is ready to go. Markakis, another crack at the cycle. Double, single, 2-run homer. Then he walked against Matt Harvey to start the 7th. And Blevins misses low and in for ball 1. Markakis, Suzuki, and Camargo up for the Braves in the 8th. So Nimmo hits second in the order. Lagares hits third in the order, and Flores hits fourth. So the change is straight up. Broken bat fly ball to right. Nimmo looking through the sunglasses, reels it in. And so Markakis probably has run out of opportunities to hit for the cycle. People's United Bank brings you today's starters. Excellent for Julio Teheran, not excellent for Jason Vargas. And Teheran may or may not be done. 96 pitches in 7 innings, had a no-hitter for 6 2/3.
So is that 20 innings pitched by the starting pitching for Atlanta this series and 1 run to this point?
Yeah, Mike Soroka gave up the home run to Cespedes in the 6th inning on Tuesday.
Oh. He's dealing.
Suzuki hit a 2-run homer in the 1st inning, his 5th of the year. Hit a career high 19 home runs last year, and he's on a better pace this year at age 34. It's not necessarily supposed to work that way. Blevins confuses him with a curveball, and it's 1-2. Jason Vargas, you saw 6 runs, 11 hits over 4 2/3. Matt Harvey in relief, 2 innings, 3 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 1 strikeout. Braves have hit 4 home runs this year. First time the Mets have given up 4 home runs in a game this season. And Suzuki gets this one in the air to left field. Overcomes Conforto to get it. 2 out. Be at Citi Field this Saturday. The Mets take on the Rockies at 7:10. The first 25,000 fans in attendance will receive a Yoenis Cespedes Garden Gnome, courtesy of New Balance. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Have you installed your gnome in your garden yet?
I have not. I have not received one.
I thought you took one on the road with you.
I would like to have 2. I want to put them on both ends of my main rose garden. So that's where those voles got underneath, and it killed around 5 of my roses.
You know, those are very popular items, Keith. And if you get 2, that's one person who's going to be deprived of one.
Well, I feel bad about that.
Gonzalez with a nice play.
I'll pay for it.
Not that bad.
I suggest you go on eBay and then secure a second one that way. That's a beautiful day in Central Park.
Oh, Sheep's Meadow, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What game are they playing there? What is that? Slap the ball and bounce it?
Oh, yeah, I see that. You know what they have too? It's like a trampoline in the middle. So you slap it at each other, then you can slap it on the trampoline, and it goes. It's one of the worst games I've ever seen.
I was going to say, I can't even imagine.
It's awful.
Let's take a look at the road ahead presented by Tri-State Buick. Rockies are in for 3 this weekend. Then the Mets go to Cincinnati and Philadelphia. And that's the road ahead.
That caricature of me makes me look like John Stossel, doesn't it?
Well, you do look like John Stossel, and John looks like you.
We were actually on a plane together around 4 years ago, and we were sitting next to across the aisle from each other. And we both looked at each other, and we started laughing. I said, "If you get what I get?" And he goes, "Yes." And I said, "It's just the mustache."
Jesse Biddle, former Phillies first-round draft pick, who made his big league debut against the Mets 12 days ago and got the win.
Hard thrower.
Call him the hover. Hovers that right foot over the rubber before proceeding to pitch.
Tomas Nido 0 for 2. Jose Lobaton on deck to pinch hit, and then Jose Reyes for the Mets in the 8th. And that one goes a little bit wide. Biddle's 26 years old now. He's a Philadelphia native, drafted in the first round by the Phillies, and virtually nothing went right for him in the 7+ years that he spent in the minor leagues. He had injury problems. He was the kid who, while he was in the minor leagues, was sitting in his car and got hit by a hailstorm and suffered a concussion. That's how bad things went for Jesse Biddle in the minor leagues. But now he's here. And he strikes out Nido with a good fastball for the first out.
You know what I was always fearful of when I was in AA ball in Tulsa, see Biddle unleashes a good fastball up in the zone, beats Nido, was hit by lightning. I mean, there was lightning that would happen in the Midwest that I had not seen on the East Coast.
You never had to duck in a ditch to dodge a tornado, though, did you?
You had to do that, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Head to toe poison ivy after that escapade.
That's a beautiful visual.
Then had to go all the way bus to Omaha. It was 100 degrees, and I had to get a cortisone shot because it was all over my body.
Oh, really?
And guess what? I was in the lineup. Thank you.
It's all in the book, isn't it?
Yes, it is in the book. Very good, Garrett.
Charging is Camargo, and he throws out Lobaton, and there are 2 out. Book's got to be close to being released, right?
The 15th of May. And I'll be a very busy man.
I've been reading reviews.
Yes.
There's some nice reviews out there.
There's the motion of Biddle. I was saying how he hovers that right foot before he proceeds to the plate. Unusual. Effective so far.
Not quite Kershaw-esque.
No.
Reyes is 0 for 3 today.
Yeah, you retweeted a review. It was very good because it caught what you were trying to do, right?
In the post, yes.
Yeah.
So Julio Teheran went 7, no runs, 2 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 96 pitches. And the Mets in danger of being shut out for a second straight day after not being shut out at all in their first 27 games. Inciarte puts away the fly ball. Biddle has a 1-2-3, bottom of the 8th. On to the 9th we go. Stossel on the right, Hernandez on the left.
That is legit.
Separated at birth. All right, gentlemen, we go to the 9th inning, and J. Reese Familia needs an inning of work, having not worked since Saturday.
Yeah, just really just to get, as Gary said, an inning of work. His start has been uneven also, despite all the saves.
Charlie Culberson has driven in a run. He's had 2 hits, scored a run today. And he slugs one out to center, and Lagares is right there waiting for it. 1 pitch and 1 out for Familia in the top of the 9th. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Papa John's. Get a medium 2-topping pizza and 2 sides for just $5.99 each when you choose Mets at papajohns.com with promo code NYM. By Dodge, visit Dodge.com to learn more about their powerful lineup. And by Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of MLB, visit ODFL.com for more information. Preston Tucker will be the pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher. Julio Teheran only pitched well. He had quite a day at the plate. 2 for 2, a sacrifice bunt and a sacrifice fly. Did not quite a Rick Wise kind of a day, but not a bad day.
Pretty good, right?
Rick Wise famously pitched a no-hitter and hit 2 home runs in the same game.
Yes. What a great guy Rick Wise was. Played with him 1 year.
Rick Wise had the unfortunate knack of being kind of in the wrong place in the wrong time, because he got traded straight up for Steve Carlton.
Yes.
And Rick Wise was a really good pitcher, but Steve Carlton was a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Rick Wise was one of those like Gaylord Perry type pitchers. Hard luck pitcher. Lose that 3-2 game, that 2-1 game.
You know who was like that as a Met? John Matlack. He lost more 3-2 games than anybody I've ever seen. Great pitcher, just, you know, picked the wrong day. 1-2 to Tucker.
Oh, this one cat's running after the ball, but he forgot his belt, so he had to go with one hand, hold the pants up with the other hand, and he got it. Nice job.
I'm not sure I understand. Was it like Cespedes losing the necklace?
Yeah.
Did he lose the belt while he was running for the ball?
No, I think he just went without the belt, and then when he started running, he was like, "Whoa, should have worn a belt today."
I see. So it was it was a decision he made earlier in the day that cost him in this case.
That's right.
I got you.
Sometimes you forget the belt.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want people to be taking off their belts, you know, while they're at the ballpark.
No, definitely not.
Tucker fouls one back. I mean, you know, you might overindulge on some of the Citi Field delicacies and feel you need to let it out a notch. That happens sometimes.
Steve Lyons took his belt off in Chicago.
Well,
I bet that never happens with you, Gary.
not yet. Blowing those papers and plastic around the field as we get late in the day. Tucker keeps the bat alive for another one. We poured Nathan's box, bereft of its delicacy. Nathan's fries, man, nothing better. And now the Nathan's box is in a bad place. Might be distracting to the hitter. You know, you watch films of old games from the 50s, like Bobby Thompson's home run.
Yeah.
And the amount of garbage that was on the field that nobody even paid attention to. And now, you know, every stray piece of paper gets picked up between innings.
I mean, I'm old enough to remember when my parents used to go to New Hampshire when I was a kid, people heaving bags of garbage outside the car window. Used to happen all the time.
Yes.
Ooh.
Do you remember one of the first commercials that came out in the 60s of the American Indian that had the tear in his eye?
Yeah.
That was the first real poignant commercial about, you know, keep America clean. It was a very poignant ad. It was wonderful.
10th pitch of the at bat to Tucker, and he slams one out to left field. Back toward the corner goes Conforto. It's over his head and off the wall. Tucker racing for second, and he makes it in sliding with a 1-out double. That was quite a turn at bat for Preston Tucker as a pinch hitter. Ten pitches and an opposite field double.
Not much of a sink on that ball. Went right with it. Conforto plays it perfectly off the wall.
Even though Tucker's lost his job to Acuna, he did some damage against the Mets in Atlanta and continues here.
Now Inciarte has walked twice and scored a run today, 0 for 2. 15 hits now for the Braves. Second time in this series they've had 15 hits. That one is poked toward the middle, and Flores throws out Inciarte for the second out as Tucker goes to third. Mets and Rockies, city probables coming up tomorrow night. Zach Wheeler against German Marquez, who's been struggling lately. Steven Matz returns to the rotation after being pushed back. Chad Bettis, who's been great so far. Noah Syndergaard goes Sunday against Kyle Freeland.
Freeland, the Denver native, gotten off to a slow start.
Only lefty the Mets will see in that series. Here's Ozzie Albies, who had a 3-run homer in the 7th to put the icing on the cake for the Braves. And Familia moves him back.
Well, Colorado comes in town. They got some star power, don't they? With Blackman and LeMahieu and Cargo and Arenado.
Well, Arenado is, you know, front and center. He's, you know, he competes for the title of best in the game right now. And, you know, a lot of those other guys, I mean, LeMahieu's hurt and Cargo's been struggling. Ian Desmond's been really struggling. Ground ball for Flores, and that takes care of the Braves in the top of the 9th. Mets will try to avoid being shut out for the second straight day. Orlando Resort's 3 amazing theme parks, including Universal's Volcano Bay Water Theme Park, a tropical paradise like no other. Plus, stay on site at Lowe's Sapphire Falls Resort. Just go to sny.tv/Toyota and enter today. Well, this has been a lost series for the Mets. Lost 3-2 on Tuesday night, got shut out 7-0 last night, and getting blown out today. Max Fried will try and get the final 3 outs for Atlanta. Brandon Nimmo for the first time and takes a fastball for a strike.
Fried was recalled just a little over a week ago. Had made 3 starts in AA and AAA in the farm system before being recalled.
Fried, one of the players the Braves got back when they traded Justin Upton to the Padres a few years ago. First-round draft pick by the Padres out of Harvard Westlake High in L.A.
Lucas Giolito, who was with the Nats, then traded to the White Sox. That's the same high school he went to.
He was the 7th overall pick in the draft, so that's some heady territory. Just 24 years old.
You've got a good program there. Most of the parents are in the business at Harvard Westlake.
We should find out, because he's from the same neck of the woods, and I bet he was a basketball player, whether he and Gazelman went against each other on the basketball court. They're
same
about,
age?
about the same age. 2-2 now to Nimmo. Of course, Robert Gazelman was a basketball star back in the LA area.
And that's saying a lot, because the LA is a big metropolitan area, obviously. Yeah. Orange County, LA County. It is a lot of high schools. For him to be one of the top players coming out of there, that says something.
It says he's a pretty good pitcher.
Right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
Lagares on deck, Flores behind him, all getting their first at bat of the day. And Nimmo takes his walk. Doesn't matter if it's 11-0. Nimmo's still working his way on base. So now Lagares, who started last night, went 0 for 3. Getting a 317 for the year.
I remember we were playing, I don't know if you remember this game, Keith. We were playing a game in West Point one year. I don't know, before the year started. And Straw had always been, Darryl Strawberry had always been talking about how great of a basketball player he was. And we got him on the gym floor. And he was right. I mean, it was amazing to watch him play against all of us that were, you know, good in bitty basketball.
Up the middle, and Lagares has a base hit. Mets have just their 3rd hit of the afternoon, and they've got 2 men on in the ninth.
I mean, you know, the reverse jams, the tomahawk jams,
plus
all
he
of those things.
Also had size on you too. And if you're good and he's got 3 inches on you, it's a little rough.
He was good.
He can take you down low.
Because you hear from a lot of players when you are in a clubhouse. A lot of players brag about their high school days. And
Their
very few
exploits in other sports.
Exactly. Very few are as good as they think they were. Straw was, and better.
Here's Wilmer Flores up for the first time, and he lashes one foul. Flores started yesterday, went 1 for 4. Had a double his last time up. In fact, in a 13-inning stretch from last night to today, he had the only hit for the Mets. Julio Teheran held the Mets without a hit today for the first 6 2/3. And Wilmer fouls back a changeup, 0-2. The Mets have not been shut out in back-to-back games since the 2015 season. Back-to-back games against the Cubs in late June, early July that year. Kyle Hendricks and John Lester shut them out in back-to-back games. Curveball fouled off. Well, the Braves have certainly asserted themselves in the first 2 series against the Mets. With a win today, they'll have 5 straight wins and a 19-11 record, sitting atop the National League East, and the Mets will have been knocked back on their heels. Fried strikes out Flores for the first out of the inning.
Wilmer keeps struggling at the plate a little bit, still trying to find that rhythm.
Now Michael Conforto, who's 0 for 2 and a walk today. Max Fried, clearly no relation to Dave.
Are you going by DNA? Is that what you're assuming?
I'm just looking.
Observing.
As Yogi said, you can see a lot by observing. One and one to Conforto.
You just got it?
I have not heard that one. That's a good one.
Oh, gosh.
Just missed 2 and 1 to Conforto. Adrian Gonzalez on deck. Conforto goes after the changeup, and it's 2 and 2. Michael's 0 for 6 in this series, 5 for his last 33, and the Mets obviously, if they're going to get the offense revved up, need for Conforto to be more himself, and we haven't quite seen that yet. And he goes down swinging on the high fastball. So Fried, after a walk and a base hit, has back-to-back strikeouts, and the Mets are down to their final out of the day.
Well, I think this is a sign that Michael is a little lost. He's been chasing bad pitches, getting the ball thrown by him. Might be a little tentative. I don't know what's going on in his head, but certainly he's in a funk. He's got such a good eye at the plate. He's been chasing some bad pitches.
Here's Adrian Gonzalez. Had an infield hit his last time up, 1 for 3. Well, Conforto didn't really have a spring training coming back from the shoulder injury. Would that still have lingering effects after a month of the season?
It could, and you know, it's always worse when you struggle in April, when your numbers are up there and you're low 200s on the interstate. It's much more glaring on the scoreboard as opposed to when you have a streak like this, say in June or May or August.
You know, Mickey Callaway was saying the other day in spring training you get what, 60 to 70 at bats, and that's where Conforto is, just north of that. So, you know, maybe just the end this spring training, I guess, this first month.
Maybe the bell's about to ring.
Hopefully.
0-2 to Gonzalez, and a half swing. He went around, strike 3. The ball game is over, and for the first time in 3 years, the Mets have been shut out in back-to-back games as the Braves complete a dominant sweep of the series. Julio Teheran holds the Mets hitless for the first 6 2/3, and 4 Atlanta home runs in an 11-0 Braves win.
Well, I just have to rave about what the young players, I'll let you talk about their offensive players, Keith. I'll talk about their pitching. 20 innings pitched by the starting pitching in this series, started by a 20-year-old and only given up 1 run against the Mets in a 3-game series.
Well, the Braves came in here as a team first in the National League in batting, runs, slugging percentage, on-base percentage, and they showed it in spades here in this series.
2 starts for Jason Vargas, 2 awful starts. Matt Harvey didn't fare much better in relief today as the Braves pull away and hammer the Mets 11-0 and sweep this 3-game series. They've beaten the Mets 5 of 6 this year. Today's game summary presented by Old Dominion. Teheran held the Mets without a hit till 2 out in the 7th. 4 home runs to boot for Atlanta as they win it 11-0. We'll have more from Citi Field in just a moment.